Hi, my name's Jason, and my gender leisure project I did is on knitting. So, what exactly is knitting? And who does or who did all the knitting? And why is it predominantly done by females or women now? And exactly how many people knit? Well, one study in 2005 showed that 30% of American women knew how to knit. And I think that's kind of pretty close because I asked a lot of women, like older women and younger women, and about 1 out of 3 said they knew how to knit, like at least a little bit. And I asked a bunch of guys that I know, and no one, no guy I know at least knew how to knit, except for one, which was me now, since I actually learned how. And one of my theories is that of why the historical changes in participation has changed is because um, outdoor sports became more and more popular, and society became more developed where people could afford to buy clothing where they wouldn't need to knit their own stuff. So that, I guess maybe they started spending more time with leisures, but like activities outside of the home. And how does knitting fit the traditional ideas of leisure for women? I think that women were very limited in choices of leisure activities because society kind of expected them to stay home and take care of the house and family, kind of like how it was in the Mona Lisa Smile film. And so knitting was kind of the perfect leisure activity for them because it allowed them to, I guess, entertain themselves with a leisure activity at home, and they're kind of providing for the family by making clothes for them. So it was kind of I think that's one reason why it was started becoming more done frequently by women. And why haven't I participated in this activity before? Well, I never really thought about knitting because I don't really like wearing scarves or sweaters or wool in general, and because I always like doing more physical activities like martial arts or going to the shooting range or working out at the gym or playing video games. And you probably think that video games isn't really much of a physical activity, but if you play some online Call of Duty, your heart rate gets pretty high from all the yelling and shooting and all the screaming and throwing of controllers that's going to be going on. I'm sure all the people that did video game presentations or activities, they kind of agree to that. So my leisure activity and personal learning. So after a bunch of research online on about well, I looked up how and what I should knit. I decided to get a scarf knitting kit on Amazon and some size 9 10 inch uh, length knitting needles. and there were more than 30 different needle sizes, so it took a while for me to kind of decide what I wanted, because the different sizes help determine the finish and size of the finished piece. And originally I wanted to knit two things, one with the kit and one with just the needle, but the kit took so long, even though it was supposed to be faster, still took about at least 10 or 11 hours to finish. So I didn't really have time to use the knitting needles yet. So I pretty much just turned them into some 10-inch green aluminum chopsticks, which work surprisingly well. Yeah, my mom wants some now. And so this knitting kit came with a knitting board, 2 balls of yarn, a knit hook, and an instructional DVD on how to knit a scarf, which was pretty good. It was like 10-15 bucks on Amazon. So the instructional DVD was only 10 minutes long, but they taught you how, so they just pretty much taught you how to start off, and then the middle part, which is just a repetitive thing, and then the end, where you basically learn how to tie the end together. Overall, the activity was kind of challenging in the beginning because it was a little confusing. They're not that great in the video, and the overall activity was really time consuming and took a lot of patience because you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. So like the bottom right picture, that took about 2 hours to make. So can be frustrating. Well, not frustrating if you don't like taking your time doing things. You also had to be really focused and careful because there's a lot of stuff you can miss if you don't pay attention. Like each hook, if you miss a hook or a knot, it could kind of ruin the whole thing and it could just fall apart. Actually, in the end, I realized I missed one, so I had to staple it at the end, which you can't really tell, but yeah, I kind of cheated. At first it's pretty frustrating because, yeah, you kind of have to learn everything, but once you get the movements down, it's pretty relaxing. I ended up, after like an hour, I ended up being able to get used to the motions where I could just, for the rest of the time, I pretty much listened to stand-up comedy or something, or listen to music on my laptop while I was doing it. It was pretty relaxing after, like, after work or something. I suggest you do it at night because you can kind of wind down from a long day by knitting. Yeah, so after hours and hours of knitting, I realized that women have way more patience than men do. Like, knitting one scarf takes more time than participating in a whole baseball game, a whole basketball game, a whole football game, and a 5-round UFC fight all put together. I think that men tend to participate in leisure activities that are more fast paced and doesn't take as much time, whereas women may like to participate in leisure activities that are more relaxing and takes more time and concentration, like knitting or like gardening. Yeah, but in the end, after I was done, I felt really accomplished and really proud of what I did. So I pretty much looked like this kid after I was done with it. And here I am with the finished scarf. Now it may look kind of small, but it wasn't really. The scarf wasn't really for me. It was for my little newborn nephew. He's sleeping, but I'm sure when he wakes up he'll thank me after he learns to talk in like a year and a half. Overall, I enjoyed this activity. It was pretty fun. You can't really, well, for guys, another reason is guys don't really do it because I don't know, I can't knit for like half an hour, longer than half an hour, an hour. But the women I've talked to, they can knit for like hours and hours without their hands getting sore. But I usually just do it for like half an hour or an hour each time. So like half an hour at night, it's pretty relaxing if you want to wind down. And I have to make another one now because my 3-year-old nephew got jealous that I made the new baby a scarf and I didn't make him one, so I gotta make him one that's probably like twice as big now. It's gonna take about 20 hours, which is what, like 2, 3, 4 weeks, another month to do if I do it an hour every day. But it was pretty good, so I might do another one before fall quarter starts. And that's my presentation, so thanks for listening and watching.